Hi guys, in my last video I have shown you that I bought new battery cells from Sinopoly here locally in Thailand, and I was going to test them. Those test results have looked like that I found a couple of cells which were 80 amp hours, and then most of them have been somewhere between 84 and the best ones 88 amp hours. So for the 80 amp hour cells, which have been two of them, I decided to send them back to the seller, and I will get other ones which will hopefully be better in the capacity. But then I also told you that I'm going to remove 3 strings of my actual pack now, and I'm going to test those cells as well, because I wanted to have a little bit overview what's actually going on there. Those cells are all tested now here, and they are inside these boxes, and I think I have actually opened Pandora's box when I started to look into those old cells. So many of you will know my AC power wall. The battery pack consists at the moment of 80 such Sinopoly cells, which originally had 100 amp hours, and they are used even if the sellers here don't admit that, but still it is like that. And when I went testing my cells from the battery pack, after the first cell was tested, I kind of really got a shock almost, because the first test was showing a cell capacity of 60 amp hours. 60 amp hours would represent a battery health of 60% only, right? But those cells should be somewhere around 7 years old. Then I thought, okay, maybe that was just one of the very bad ones or weak ones. But then I tested all cells, and my goal was actually really met. I do think now that I have tested a representative sample from my pack. Why do I think so? Because all the cells actually gave me very similar results. You know that my cells, I have bought them in 2 batches. One around almost 3 years ago, and the other one was about 1.5 years later. And when I finished testing, all the cells of the batch number 1 have shown capacity between 60 and 63 amp hours. So they are degraded all by the same amount. And the other ones from the batch 2, they all tested between 73 and 78 amp hours. So also this is very representative of what's going on there. So we have the very old ones, state of health around 60%, and the newer ones which are around 75%. Let's take an average. All the new ones which I bought, they are showing somewhere in average around 85%. This is telling me that what I see by testing 3 strings there, that the other strings will be probably exactly the same way. Because the 3 strings which are removed from the pack were actually those which have shown the weakest behavior, and all other cell strings there should actually perform a little bit better. But in general, for lithium iron phosphate cells, I find this a little bit disappointing. Of course, this is the price you pay when you buy something used. There has surely been a reason why these cells have come out of their first life application. If this was in an electric vehicle, it has been heavily used, of course. So now what have I learned here? And I would also have an opinion from your side. You know, my plan actually is just to add one of the newest cells to each of the strings. So I would actually mix an 85 amp hour cell into a string which also has 60 amp hour cells inside. Now the question is, do you think, is this a wise idea? Should we kind of put strings together which are built out of same capacity cells, or is that not necessary in your opinion? Let's say I would wanna put all similar cells together. If I take 5 of the 85 amp hour cells, I would get a string of around 420 amp hours. I could then also take 6 from the 75 amp hour cells together, and that would give me the same amount. Or I could also take 7 of the 60 amp hour cells, and all of this would come somewhere to around 420 amp hours of a string capacity. So this would then be a build which is based on similar cells per string. But the question is this a good idea to have strings which only contain 5 cells, and then you have strings which have 6 or 7 cells? So the currents would behave a little bit differently, I guess. Bus bars are differently. We have more voltage drop in those strings over the bus bars because they are longer, etc., etc. While the other option, just as I said, just add one of the new cells to the old ones. There we have then all strings are same. They have all 6 cells included, and yeah, but you of course never know exactly what's going on inside of the string itself, because the cells are differently. Each cell will take current differently, and the weak cells, the smaller capacity cells, will usually always be ahead of the other one which have more capacity, etc. But yeah, this is a question. Maybe you have an idea. What would you do if you are in this situation? Yeah, you see, if you decide to take a closer look into an old system, you might find some disturbing results. A lot of questions popping up. But I think that's to be expected, because yeah, once you decide to go for old used stuff, you will never find yourself in the same situation like when you build up something from the ground with completely new stuff, of course. So yeah, that's my situation at the moment. So please give me your thoughts down in the comment. I know you guys who are building the packs with those 18650 cells. There's a lot of videos on the YouTube, of course, about builds like that. You put like 100 different cells in parallel in one of those strings, and you also measure capacity. You put them together by capacity, I guess. Different cell chemistries are also behaving a little bit different when you put a lot of cells in parallel. Lithium iron phosphate is a little bit sluggish, so you need a lot of voltage difference that they start to move current between each other anyways. Okay, so that was it for today. So thank you for watching this video. Please comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and I see you next time.